of AC 360. Anderson, thank you for being with us. Anderson is joining us from Ground Zero. What can you tell us, Anderson, about threats of revenge against America?
Well, that's certainly, concern I think that U.S. officials have, and frankly, officials in a lot of countries around the world have right now. They put authorities on alert, put security services on alert, embassies on alert around the world, and they're warning Americans traveling overseas as well, of course, to be vigilant. But look, that's the price of the times that we live in right now, Nancy. It's not as if we need our enemies need another reason to hate us. They have plenty of reasons to hate us as it is. So I don't think people should be particularly worried any more than they would normally be as long as people are vigilant.
Anderson, a big controversy about whether the photos should be released. Panetta is saying it will be released. Protesters saying that will only add fuel to the flame. But Anderson, the flame's already there. There's a fire we can't put out. What's your take on it?
Well, I try not to take stands on things like this. I think it's up to people to decide whether they want to see the picture or not. People can look at the picture if they don't want to. I've heard people say today that right now the image that exists is this positive image of people celebrating outside the White House. Why ruin that with a gory picture of bin Laden? This is a man who should be left on the dust heap of history, not remembered. Others want to see proof. They want to see have some sort of sense of finality, and not just have that this guy disappears into the sea.
Anderson, already the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, the TTP, has spoken out. What do you know about their threat against America?
Look, there's plenty of groups that are going to make threats, that are trying to cash in on the kind of attention that they would get by making a threat right now. Any group that comes out and makes a threat, they're going to get a lot of news media attention. I don't think we should give them any more attention, frankly, than is warranted. Look, a lot of groups are going to rattle their sabers, are going to make threats. It remains to be seen what operational capabilities they really have and how much of a reach they really have.
Anderson, with all of these suggestions that a retaliation is imminent, what targets are concerning to the U.S.? Well, look,
obviously U.S. Installations overseas, embassies, military bases, but those are pretty well guarded. So you have to look, be concerned about softer targets, places where tourists visit. Just last week in Marrakesh, Morocco, a cafe was bombed, a suicide attack there, I believe it was. A number of foreigners were killed. So you have to look at places where Americans would congregate, discos, nightclubs, restaurants, any place overseas that there's not a security perimeter around, or where bags aren't searched when they come in. Those are the kind of easy, soft targets, I think, that really have officials worried. And obviously, targets back in the continental United States, that's a lot harder to hit. But places where people gather would obviously be of a concern. But look, it's easy to be worried and live in fear, but I think it's important not to. It's important to live our lives and to travel and do the things that we all want to do, and not give these people more attention or more credence than they deserve.
In the hours after bin Laden's assassination, we are learning much more about the way that the assassination went down. Anderson, what have you learned?
Well, it's not just a Navy SEAL team which carried out this mission. It's a Navy SEAL Team 6, which is sort of the elite of the elite. I mean, this Navy SEALs are incredibly, incredibly highly trained. They're the most the best of the best inside the Navy Special Forces. This Navy SEAL Team 6 are basically hand-picked from different SEAL teams. They're experts in close-quarter combat, just the kind of stuff that they knew that they would be facing in an operation like this. We know that they planned in a mock-up. Actually, two different mock-ups of the compound that bin Laden had been living in. We now know that we believe bin Laden had been living there for more than 5 years, which is just extraordinary, Nancy. I mean, that's still the question that is yet to be answered by Pakistan authorities. How is it possible that this mass murderer, who's quite identifiable, is very tall guy, who's not Pakistani, can move into this neighborhood, live in this neighborhood, build a $1 million compound, and no one raise questions about it, given that this is a military cantonment area in Pakistan. You got troops on every block, and you've got a military academy about a mile away.
Okay, here's the deal, Anderson. They did know. They're going to deny it from now on. The U.S. is going to say we're not going to give them any more money, and then we are. All right, so that's the way that's going to play out. What I'm more concerned about right now is the aftermath of his death. How that's going to be used against the U.S. Already there is protest. Was he armed? Was he not armed? Was he reaching for a gun? Anderson, under these three theories, armed, unarmed, reaching for a gun, what difference does it make?
Yeah. Well, look, people are going to quibble. People are going to have conspiracy theories. This always happens. But the wheel of history is moving in the right direction. Right now, the voices in the Muslim world, in the Middle East, are the voices calling for freedom, calling for democracy in countries all over the Middle East right now. That's the group. That's the new face of the Middle East. Bin Laden's face is gone. It's got two bullets in it, one bullet to the left side of his face, one bullet to the left side of his chest, and he's at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. The history is moving forward, and these Al-Qaeda groups, they're going to stick around. They're going to kill people. They're going to continue doing their operations. But we're seeing remarkable changes right now in the Middle East, changes that could lead to a much better life for the people there and frankly, for people all around the world.